Sarah Miller. I'm with the Florida Public Archaeology Network. I'm really excited to be here with you today. And our executive director, William Lees, is here and on the trip, and I think he should answer all the questions. So hard. As Tom mentioned, it is my birthday today, Bill's tomorrow, and I can't think of a better present professionally or personally than having this opportunity to come here and engage and discuss and really nerdify. I mean, we were up till midnight chatting at things on a deep level. So, but now's my chance to pause and tell you a little bit about the Florida Public Archaeology Network. And maybe it's a very unique model in the United States, but might be a model that other communities could take on. Our statement mission in a nutshell is to help protect the state's varied past through education and outreach. So our main work areas are education outreach, assisting local governments, assisting states' division of historical resources, which might be similar to some of the duties for HES, except on a state level. So we have worked on this for about 12, 14 years, and we worked in these traditional areas in a variety of creative ways. But about 5 years ago, we had local planners coming to us saying, what about our sites that are going to be impacted by sea level rise? What can we do for management plans? What can we do with the community? And it kind of stopped me on my feet because I was not trained in climate science. This is something I've had to learn on the job. And then this is the first glimpse at 2012, what our site endangerment looked like. And to break it down, we have about 4,000 sites that are looking to be impacted by sea level rise in the next 50 to 100 years. And know for the state of Florida, it's the entire state is our coastal zone. That's how the DEP, Division of Environmental Protection, interprets that. So we're talking the whole state. And then management strategies for our local governments, for the state, but knowing for the majority of our 4,000 sites, abandonment in place is a management strategy. This is at National Register site Cape Canaveral, where the rockets first went up. Very significant site, and it's falling into the sea. This spray can template was used when they constructed it. A lot of these buildings were not meant to last more than 50 years, 100 years. Some of them were supposed to last a single day just to send the rocket up. So it's been a very dynamic discussion with partners, and how to bring this to the community has been a challenge we were eager to take on right away. It's easy for me to talk to you about how our process went from the known to the unknown, because I'm an archaeologist, that's what we like to do. So I want to tell you briefly about another program, our Cemetery Resource Protection Training Program. This is a workshop one day in the morning. There is discussion on management of historic cemeteries. There's discussion on laws that protect cemeteries. There's discussion on data gaps in our site files, how to get a site listed, and then usually another research component. And then the afternoon, we have a very practical moment, going out, taking care of headstones, recording macro and micro changes. We clean the stones with D2, and a lot of good partnerships are built up. In all, in about 5 years' time, we've done 74 workshops like this with the community, with local governments across the state. We have over 1,000 graduates of this program. We've worked in over 30 counties across Florida and 47 cities. And these people are so gung-ho. We've now had 3 annual, well, semi-annual conferences where we get together. Now that they have that initial scientific literacy, how do we take those discussions further? Because this is really the volunteer corps that is doing the work in our historic cemeteries. So we thought we'd start with that model when we looked at now how to take on the issue of sea level rise, of climate change. And our first try out of the gates were these sea level rise workshops. And we did 3 pilots and kept to some of the same crypt format. But we really struggled with that afternoon applied component of what made sense practically to go do with our workshop participants. And it also turned into a moment, this is sometimes the only education the public gets on climate change. And there's a lot of passion feelings like, what's gonna happen to my house? What do you mean the fire station? What do you mean that road's gonna go off? So it was good we workshopped this idea for a while, but was really at the Society for American Archaeology meeting. Some of you were there in Orlando, and meeting up with Tom and Joanna face to face for the first time, seeing their model of going out and having the public monitoring the sites, reporting feedback back, and that's where it really clicked for us. That afternoon component could be modeled on what SCAPE has done, as we have some similar concerned communities, good stewards, good advocates, and they're very eager to help do this work also. So this is my first year highlights. It took off very fast. I mean, that was in May. We launched our Heritage Monitoring Scout program in August. In that time were a lot of partnership building meetings. We also conceived of Title United, a summit to bring together academics, folks from the state, but it really turned that first year more into preservationists, volunteers in the community, other archaeologists and public archaeologists, and that's Tom and Joanna on the front steps of my building in St. Augustine. So that was great that they came to give advice, and it was really their connection with seeing our work in the cemeteries that made me feel like, I think we're doing a lot of this already. We just hadn't applied it in those terms. And we also had the chance during Florida Archaeology Month to put together a quick Florida Heritage at Risk exhibit, and that is currently on display, I think, at Bay County Public Library. So that's been a nice thing moving around the state. Our second year, we had another Title United Summit. This one was sponsored and held in partnership with the Seminole Tribe of Florida. This is huge for us because this is not a partner we've traditionally been able to bring a lot to the table that they're very interested in. If you look at the prediction maps, you'll see they're going to be completely underwater in a very short time. So they have an urgency and a desire to bring the youth in that engaged immediately. We were also in Ireland last summer, got to go over and meet the folks from Cherish and see how they're approaching this work. We have updated our database, our Heritage Monitoring Scout 1.0 up to our 2.0, which is using a new open source program. And we made such a good program for the community that the state said, could you please have a separate, more professional looking portal and record the same information of the monitoring for the state public lands. So that's why there's now two phases of the HMS program. That's us on the lower left going to Key West Cemetery in Key West. After Irma, we were able to use the HMS program. It was actually up and running right before Hurricane Matthew hit, and we were able to go and use HMS to assess every historic cemetery in St. Johns County, but probably about 40 more sites. The month after Irma, we drove around and volunteers with us, without us, we recorded 67 sites in short order. We also applied for a special category grant last year. This is my political moment to say we were ranked quite high, I think, in the funding zone, but then got knocked out by our Secretary of State, who personally reordered the ranking list. So we're still trying to understand why that was done, and we have applied for funds again for next year, so fingers crossed. Climates change, right? So maybe political climate will change. And this is the back door to see what the Arches program looks like. And I like it's more visual. It's protected. Our site information is not open to the public. So how do we tell people where to go to monitor without telling them where to go to monitor? So that's been maybe something that could come up in a question. But again, it was initially conceived of as a public engagement program. We do an evaluation based on community engagement, and you can see really kind of follows the pyramid of people observing heritage at risk, following the topic, endorsing by registering to be a scout, contributing by submitting reports. We have people really owning the sites who have been to more than 20 or monitored more than 20 times. And then we have our leaders, which are a lot of FPAN staff and other archaeologists, but the leader right now who's monitored 129 sites does not work for FPAN, and somebody I've never met. So I think that's working well. And these are some statistics also by the counties in Florida, just demonstrating we're active in 50 counties now, 870 reports, and that's only in about a year and a half's time. So in sum, HMS has become part of what we were already doing, just gives us laser focus to a lot of our outreach programs or works with the county to talk to them in a more focused way, and invite you all to come out to Shell Bluff Landing. This is a site, you're looking at it before Matthew in the upper left. This is after Matthew, where we had about 5 feet taken off in one day. And this is less than a year later after Irma. And you can see the dramatic change to this landscape that's got a 6,000-year-old prehistoric midden and about a 200-year-old Menorcan well. I left some goodies at the back of the table for you. You can pick up your stickers for Heritage Monitor and Scout. Has the website information. Same for the Cemetery Resource Protection Training. Come visit us. We are doing the Keeping History Above Water Conference next May. There's just a few. You gotta like elbow and grab them of these scale cards that we give to our scouts so they'll leave artifacts in place. And finally, this is our Heritage at Risk bookmark that was done for our Archaeology Month last year. And in the corner, you'll see my water bottle has a escape sticker on it. So you are very much included in our programming. And thank you very much.